Welcome to the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast. Youth ministries rise and fall on the volunteers, so we are here to encourage and equip you. Join the conversation as we tackle the practical questions you are asking so you can help the next generation know Jesus.
Hey, this is Jeremy, and we are continuing our summer series, taking a look at different spiritual disciplines, different practices that students themselves are experiencing across our country of Canada. So really grateful for Will, who got a chance to interview, and you'll get a chance to meet Jaidon and Maximus as we continue on finding ways of sharing the story of what God is doing in the lives of teenagers. Can't wait for you to take a listen.
Welcome to the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast. My name is Dmytrow, and I have the opportunity to be with two awesome people in Calgary, Alberta, Pastor Jaidon and Maximus. How's it going, guys?
Going good.
I'm blessed to be here. Thanks for having us, Will.
Yeah, so Pastor Jaidon, Maximus, tell us a little bit about yourselves and where you guys are coming from. You're obviously in Calgary, but tell us the church you're at and tell us how you got here today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, we're from First Assembly Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I help run and facilitate spaces on our midweek programs like FA Youth.
Yeah.
Also our preteen ministry called Club 56 on Wednesdays, and also our junior high and preteen class on Sundays, which is happening this morning, which is amazing.
Awesome.
And Max is one of our top student leaders. So yeah, want to share a bit?
Yeah, on Sundays, I do media for preteen and junior high class.
Yeah.
And I also sometimes do table discussions with the students as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's super cool. So obviously today in the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the practice of generosity. And so the practice of generosity is basically how do we live generously? And we're all in a spiritual discipline series right now for anybody who's been tracking with the podcast. And today we're with Maximus on generosity. So Pastor Jaidon, Maximus, tell us a little bit about why you guys are here and how everything got to where it is right now.
Yeah. In terms of generosity, it's something that we have a value here at FA Youth to practice. We recognize that it is a spiritual discipline and a practice. So within every single one of our gatherings, we bring that as a reminder to our students. And we have kind of like a liturgy or a ceremony around that in space, around just like invitations and prayer accompanying that. We don't want it to be kind of just like a familiar week-to-week thing, but we ask and we engage with our students on what it is as well. Why do we do it? Like the deep question of like, if you think about it, why should I give my whole self, my resources, time, energy, and even money to people in the church or even God?
Yeah.
And kind of like the conclusion we all usually come to is this, there's a joke because it's just repetitive, but the students know that God gave first. So because God gave first, ultimately we have the opportunity to follow in that footstep of participating in that kingdom generosity, because he was the ultimately generous person and being, giving up his own son. So yeah, sorry if I stole your thunder there, bro.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, what's your take on that?
I think it's important to highlight that it's never about the amount of money you give, but it's always about the posture of your heart when you're giving. Like there's the story in the Bible with the woman at the treasury, and she just gives the 2 coins. But even though there were all these men who were giving amounts of money that supersede that, but her heart posture was there, and she gave everything that she had, and that's why her contribution was more valuable than that of the other men.
Yeah.
That's a really cool word. So Maximus, just for a second, so like we are like we're looking at you right now. You're a student. You're at FA Youth. What grade are you in, bro?
I'm in grade 9.
Okay, so you're in grade 9, and then maybe pace us back a second on your journey towards generosity, because you had a really good word that you just gave. But tell us how you got to that point, because you're a grade 9 guy, you're thinking about generosity. Pastor Jaidon's like obviously taught, try to move our youth towards that. But something happened or something clicked in you, I think, somewhere between now or when you were born in grade 9. So maybe pace us back your journey a little bit so that we can help understand how you've gotten to the place where you're at.
Yeah, it started this one Christmas a couple of years ago where I got a lot of money, and my mom asked me what I was going to do with it, and I said, I don't know. And then she
Mhm.
said I should give 10% of it to the church. And back then, I was a little bit on the fence about it because this was money that I had got legitimately and I didn't want to give it away. But
Yeah.
then I prayed on it, and then I realized that giving this money to the church was the right thing to do, and it can help others through things like Alpha Youth or Kingdom Builders, helping churches set up in other places. And so that's kind of how I got started on this path of generosity, by thinking about the cause and where the money is going to, and knowing that there are better things that can be done with money than keeping it for myself and spending it on things that I only want.
Yeah. So you hit that, like, you hit that journey and all of a sudden something clicked in you. Like, it seems like that moment happened and you're like, okay, like I'm all in. So what happened there? Like, was there something in you, like once you gave, that you were like, I need to keep doing this? Or like what happened there for you, Maximus?
I think I just had a moment with God where we met, and I realized that I can actually help advance his kingdom on earth,
Yeah.
and I can partner with him, and I can work with him to help him just show his love with others through my giving.
Yeah.
And it was just also an acknowledgement that um, I am above the money, and it also helps me master the money, and I don't let it master me.
Yeah.
Because when I give my money and my time, it helps me acknowledge that it doesn't have as much value in the bigger picture, and it just allows me to put it towards a better cause.
No, that's really cool, man. I like that. So, like, for you guys, like, for me at least, sometimes something that I hear often is like, well, like, youth don't really make money, like, they're broke. And so generosity is probably something that I would do when I like grow up, like once I like have a job, like can actually make income, maybe I'll be generous then. But it seems like you guys are kind of resisting that a little bit and pushing back to that. Like, tell me a little bit about you guys' perspective, like, oh, what generosity can look like for a student, especially that there's lots of people out there who have that perception, like giving's not for me now, like maybe after I'm done high school or something like that. Like, speak to both of that, Pastor Jaidon and Maximus.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's a good point. Students don't make much money unless they do have jobs, but even then, yeah, some of them are however they get what little they have. We invite them, never forcefully, but it's always like that invitation to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, kind of what Max was alluding to. But we also give opportunities just for students to serve, just like Max serves on every week, because giving time is also a way we can be generous. So this is actually a recent thing where we're wanting we made an intake form and application for students to actually participate with us as like youth leaders in the ministries that we're leading. And Pastor Jeremiah, our pastor and our leader, he has a quote, and he says that youth ministry isn't youth ministry unless the youth are doing the ministry. So we want to invite the students not just to give what little they have, as we prompt them into that calm invitation, but we also
Yeah.
like know that they have time and they have gifts and they have resources that they can share with the kingdom by how they serve and what they love to do, and how they want to serve as well, specifically in their giftings and where they want to lead and which event, which space. So we want to partner with that so we can get like a whole holistic kind of like point of view and posture and action towards generosity in that way.
That's unreal. That's good. What about you, Maximus?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said before, it's never about the amount of money that you're giving, even if you're just giving like 10 cents, 25 cents, a dollar here and there. If your heart is there, then God will meet you there and he will honor your offering to help accelerate his kingdom. And even if you're just like hanging out with your friends, if you go down to the gas station and you like get them something and you bless them, even though you're not giving to God, you're still giving to others and you're still
Yeah.
showing generosity through that.
Yeah. Sorry if I can add on. Yeah, that's something as well. Like interruptible generosity is something that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
also emphasize too. Like it's not just about being generous to the space that we're in when we're in church settings, but it's like, hey, because you guys are doing the ministry in here, we also want you guys to do the ministry outside of the walls and be the ones to like, hey, to bless someone or to be stopped in your day at the store, at the mall, and just to be generous wherever you need to see it need met.
Yeah. No, I like that. So in a lot of ways, like for you guys, like it's like it doesn't matter if it's 25 cents, $25, or like $25,000, right? Like what God wants is a cheerful giver. And that's what
Yeah.
Paul says, right? Like God wants a cheerful giver. And so like that's like something that I'm seeing that I'm hearing you guys say is like actually like what if we framed it like generosity starts where we are right now, right? Like not like when we have a benchmark of money. And one thought that I'm just thinking as you guys are speaking is like, hey, like if you start fostering a heart of generosity now, like what could that look like once you maybe do make like more flow of cash, right? Like that could be something really cool. So one thing you did mention though is generosity isn't just something that happens in the walls of the building of the church, but outside the walls too. So like what else do you guys sense that like generosity can like look like for you guys, like as a youth ministry, as like people in youth workers, like all that kind of stuff? Like where else does generosity happen for you all?
Yeah. So um, there's a lot of need in our city, obviously, in Calgary. There's a lot of homeless. There's a lot of people in need in general. Um, what we want to do, and something that I've been thinking about with Pastor Jeremiah, is that we want to do more so like hands-on outreach maybe in the future, just so we can get that perspective and actually see with our eyes, but not just talk about it in the four walls of our room, but to put it
Yeah.
into action and use our hands and to like use our bodies and actually like engaging in generosity with our bodies, with our minds, and in the spirit, holistically. So I think that's like specifically a project that we want to continue more consistently on. Not that we haven't done it before, but maybe if we want to engage that generosity muscle in a new way, I think that would be a cool thing we get to do this next coming school year.
Yeah. I like that. What do you think impacts
Yeah,
that?
to add on to what Jaden said about like hands-on generosity, back in November, we had a youth retreat where we actually went out and we were giving food hampers to areas where they were needed. And when I did that, it just helped me realize um, how I can help by doing things like giving out food hampers or donating money that will go towards helping those food hampers.
Mhm. That's really good. So to me, like right now, I'm also hearing is like generosity is not just like how much like giving away money cheerfully, like to like God, like as you guys mentioned before, but it also looks like what can I give away in my time? Like what can I give away like with like my body, like generously, right? So for you guys, like you were like speaking about this in a way that you're like, hey, like you started talking a little bit about some things, but tell me a little bit more about what generosity can look like with time for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I think what we kind of mentioned is like what we kind of strive for. We're kind of practicing it in a way, but there's also more that we can do, of course, which we're being invited to by conviction and just by invitation from the Lord, of course. But even as we're talking right now, I'm thinking about how usually squads in our youth group would hang out outside of the church program sometimes as well. Like even hinting that message and invitation in the Slack chats or the WhatsApp chats that we have with our students to remind them even on their day to day, or even when they're hanging out with their youth leader on an odd day, just hanging out and being together, to always like, hey, We're gonna send this message. Hey guys, let's make sure to keep your peripherals open. And if you see someone in need, or if you're invited to meet a need, let's do it. Just be bold. Take a risk and do it. Because like what you kind of mentioned too, Will, is just like it's not just something that feels good all the time. It definitely is a muscle, and it is a practice. So on top of what we try to do in the house and what we want to do more so outside of house, that interruptible generosity, when we see a need, is probably the best way we want to just go forward, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. And I think you guys just hit something really important there, right? Like spiritual disciplines, like, or the practices of Jesus, I think they're both interchangeable, is like, it's not actually something that you always want to do, right? Like it's a discipline,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe sometimes it feels good. Sometimes you're like fired up about it. Like you're like in the moment, you feel motivated and you want to give, but then maybe a month later, if you're giving to say that same cause, you're not as motivated in your heart anymore. But what does it look like for you to have that disposition of generosity? And that's a great thing. I like that. Maximus, do you have anything to add?
To talk about what you just said, I think um, it's always good to have an open mind and to be
Yeah.
willing to say yes when you have the opportunity to give. There are times where my friends ask me to buy them a drink, and sometimes I'm not feeling like
Mhm.
it, but then I just feel the extra tug from the Holy Spirit to say yes. And in doing so, I'm also being more obedient to God, and I am doing what He asks of me.
Right. That's really good. I like that. And so overall, like this, like generosity, and here's what I'm hearing from you guys right now is like this is something that like is a practice, is a discipline that we need to stir up. Like when you start giving though, like when you can cheerfully give, like God will do something in you. And like I'm also like hearing that like this is like a practice that everyone can do, whether you have like 25 cents or you have a lot of cents, or if you have no time or you have a lot of time, like whatever time that you have that God can use, like God will use that in you. So I love that. Those are some really good things that you guys have learned along the way. But we have to turn it back onto volunteer youth workers because this is who this podcast is for. So for you, Pastor Jaidon, for you, Maximus, if you guys could give a word of encouragement to say, hey, what does it look like for us to like encourage volunteer youth workers to help their students become generous people and their time and their money, resources? What encouragement would you guys give to them?
Yeah, for starters, I would just say like give them an opportunity to do so. If there's no like space for that to be possible, what would it look like for youth workers to create that space or create that platform, or maybe a project
Yeah.
or some sort of outreach or some sort of initiative? So for example, we've done our Alpha Youth series. We've downloaded it, and we've kind of been doing that with our youth group. um, on top of them blessing us with that content and with that curriculum, that series, we've practiced generosity like usual, but we've communicated to our students that all that they were to give, we're committed to giving to schools and other spaces where students would lead also alpha courses
Wow.
in their areas of influence. So I would say give the students that opportunity, somehow, some way. And I would also encourage students specifically to know that because they're made intricately and they're made for a purpose, they have something to bring to the table, and which allows them to be a part of this great, beautiful, overarching story of the scriptures, that they can participate in today.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest invitation, a beautiful invitation at that they can be a part of, and to do it and to practice that type of generosity, not just individually, but as a community, emulates like the true intention of God's church and his overall
Yeah.
heart and how he acted giving up his son for all humanity. So that's my encouragement. How about
That's
you,
a good
Max?
word.
I'd say it's also similar to what Jaden said, is creating an opportunity to allow the students to serve and give themselves. Even if you invite a friend to youth and you give them a ride in your car to get to youth, that is a way you can serve and give up your time and your space to invite them to enter into the church and then help them build up a relationship with God in that setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And so, like, in a lot of ways, then, like, generosity isn't just something that, like, you do on the side. It becomes a little bit of a part of who you are, right? Like, it's a
Right.
lifestyle that you're seeking to, like, live out. So, if you guys could give any last words to specifically, like, volunteer youth workers, like, think about your youth leaders or think about youth leaders across the country. Like, what would be one last thing that you would give, one nugget of advice that you would give to them about storing up generosity to students?
Yeah. For me personally, and thinking about all the youth workers and leaders, I'm always taking back to the fact that of my testimony and story. Um, Testimonies and our stories of how we came to faith and how God has been faithful to us, and kind of always takes me back to this place of like humility and thankfulness.
Yeah.
Like I've been like I think about it, I ponder on this truth like almost every day. I also make that a discipline, because when I think about how I've been provided for, taken care of, and I've been covered, it kind of like gives me this great sense of gratitude and thankfulness. So it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here if it wasn't for God's generosity and God's people's generosity. So I would love to somehow, some way participate in this redemption story for others to experience as well. I'm always taken back by individual stories, collective stories, that propels us into gratitude, which allows me to be generous. So that's my call
That's
and invitation for all those who are wanting to like just to start that. Like you've been provided for, you've been blessed, you've been shown, like you've seen God. He's been there for you. Now you get
yeah.
to partner with Him to bless more.
Come on. Maximus, you got the last word. What is it?
I'd say if there's an opportunity for you to give, you should always take it, because even though what it looks like then might not seem like much, the seeds that you are planting when you give will grow into so much more.
Yeah.
One of my close friends now, I remember when he came to youth for the first time and he didn't know anyone. And I gave my time to building a relationship with him and connecting with him. And because of that, he decided to come back the next week and the week after that. And then he started inviting his friends, and then he started inviting more friends. And now he's just helped and made the community a better place.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
Contagious generosity.
Yeah. And it's like, it's just that for you, Maximus, like what I'm hearing is like, for you, generosity was like a discipline that started with like, oh yeah, I guess I should give away. And it's just created like this really beautiful posture of being like, everything that I'm going to do, like I want to give. And for us as youth workers today, what I'm really hearing is like, hey, like let's actually first start having a conversation about generosity to begin with, and like actually giving students opportunities to step into it. Let's not decide for students that they're not going to be generous, but let's actually give them that opportunity, that space, and like an opportunity to be able to say, hey, let's go out and be generous people in our time and our resources, our money. Like whether you have 25 cents or a lot, whether you have no time or a little time or a lot of time, like let's give our time to God and see what He could do with that. And so for us, living a generous life to me seems like this idea of like, this is a lifestyle, but yet at the same time, it's a discipline in the way that we need to continue to foster that and grow that. So guys, this has been great. Thank you so much, Pastor Jaidon and Maximus, for being with us today. And this concludes the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast. See you later, guys. Peace out.
Thank you. See ya.
Thank you.